is Adolf Hitler and you're Chancellor of Europe's most powerful nation, you need a car to match your really rather gigantic ego. An ego massaged by adoring, if rather misguided crowds, and the belief that one day you would rule the world.
Ich bin von Kopf bis Fuß.
Obviously, against this sort of background, a Volkswagen Beetle would not do. So Adolf had Daimler-Benz make him a handful of special 770Ks. Some survive, even to this day. Built in 1939, it was used in the somewhat premature 1940 Berlin Victory Parade. It's a remarkable machine. It tips the scales at a massive 5 tons. It's 20 feet long and 7 feet wide. Each of its doors weighs a cumbersome 900 pounds. So what's the worst job you've ever had? Well, I reckon it isn't half as bad as the poor old soul who had to drive this, because not only is it very difficult, the steering's unbelievably heavy and the gearbox redefines the concept of recalcitrance. Not only that, if you did get it wrong, well, well, what's his face sitting there wasn't exactly famed for his tolerance, was he? Now, you might imagine the chauffeur drove slowly because he was frightened, but this is only the half of it. Bringing it to a halt from anything above 5 mph is a nightmare. But then, if it did have proper brakes, Hitler would not have been able to keep his balance while standing on the seat. He refused to stand on the floor because he said it made him look tiny. Mind you, anyone looks tiny in this, even when they're 6'5" with a hairdo to match.
Unsere beiden Schatten sahen wie ein an, dass wir lieb uns hatten, das sah man gleich darauf. Und alle Leute sollen es sehen, wenn wir bei der Laterne stehen, wie einst Lili Marleen, wie einst Lili Marleen.
Now, Mercedes is making a big noise these days about the double glazing. It's fitting to its current S-Class. But would you just look at this? Inch-thick, bulletproof glass. In fact, the whole car is bulletproof, and the floor is bomb-proof. The only way you could get Hitler was to drop a bomb through the canvas roof. Now, to make sure that didn't happen, at night anyway, Hitler had this curious lamp arrangement fitted. All it did was light up a small area of road in front of the car, but was completely invisible from the air. Now, I've had a good look round for somewhere he might have kept his diaries, but do you know, I reckon the whole thing was a fake. Anyway, what I have found is something absolutely glorious. Oh, should have had that third Weetabix for my breakfast. Now, what we've got there is a straight 8 supercharged engine. Does 6 miles to the gallon, develops 230 horsepower, can barrel this 5-ton Merc along at a cool 100 miles an hour. It's hard to know, really, whether it belongs in the Science Museum or the Tate Gallery. Well, from one Axis power to another. And no, this is not the Emperor Hirohito's Datsun. This is Mussolini's Lancia Asturia Ministeriale, which somehow I've just managed to say right. Anyway, no bomb-proofing, no bullet-proofing. It doesn't even have a work of art under the bonnet. Now, that not only looks boring, but the performance it develops isn't all that great either. Just 82 horsepower to give a top speed of a mere 77 miles an hour. Ooh, this is a bit of a squeeze. Right. Hold on, reverse. This is Italian, of course. 67 reverse gears. I think I found a forwards one now. Joking aside, this is a wonderful looking car. Its Pininfarina styled curves are every bit as lovely as Il Duce's rather more contemporary granddaughter. Mussolini always maintained that you should always keep your heart a desert, but obviously he didn't apply that philosophy to his garage. Now, while the Mercedes would double up very nicely as a tank, this feels much more like a startled rabbit. You can almost feel Italy's love affair with the racing car. Even the steering wheel looks like a checkered flag. And although it's designed as a limousine, you would hardly call the V8 motor statesman-like. It's about as serene as a Judas Priest concert. I love it. There are a couple of problems, though. I can't see where I'm going because of those flags on the front. And this is the first right-hand drive gearbox I've ever come across. First and second are next to me, third and fourth are over there. Weird. Built at a cost of $13,680 in 1939, this was the largest and the last of the Lancia limos so favoured by the Italian fascists. We should be inordinately grateful that it did not meet the same fate as its owner. Now, the two cars we've already looked at, along with this Lincoln Continental convertible that was once the property of none other than John F. Kennedy, and the wonderful Packard Super 8 that once belonged to Eva Peron, are normally resident in Nevada. They're over in England for the Classic and Sports Car Show, which is being held at the NEC later this month.